All right. Welcome, everyone, to episode 16 of the Kota Capper College World Central Show presented by the Kota Sports Gambling Network. We had some schedule mishaps with a couple people, which is why we're short staff. But you know what? We got a great crew still nonetheless. Got a lot of bowl games to talk about. Let's get rolling. My name is Kyle Comas, and joining me, we have the co-host of the Gabacho Baracho Soccer Podcast and an avid Husker fan. We got Mr. Corey Adair, and we got the host of the Play Me or Fade Me podcast, Minnesota Gopher fan himself. We got Mr. Action Junkie. Fellas, we are first week of bowl game. We made it this far. How we doing?
I mean, emotionally, I'm tapped out. You know, we suck again type of thing. So it is what it is. Obviously, there's certain teams that I enjoy watching play, so I'll tune into those bowl games, and whatever games I've got money on, obviously, I'm going to watch those too. But yeah, you know, it is what it is.
Absolutely. Action, how are you doing? It's been a while.
I'm doing great. The Gophers are in a bowl game, and can I finally say it? Texas is back, baby.
Yeah, you got to keep your house one more year.
I do. One more year. I'm excited. Well, I put a lot on the line on college basketball, so it could go quick.
I was going to say, with all those bets that you hit this regular season, I think you could just probably buy a new house, right?
Well, let's just say the kids are going to have a good Christmas. I know that much.
Yeah. And if they ask how you were able to afford that, just say Longhorns. That's all they need to know.
Yep, hook 'em horns, baby.
Yeah, you don't even have to say anything. You just
just put up the horns. We're good to go.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah, I mean, the premature we're back, Sam Meltinger, you know, that comes to mind, but you have to say it now.
I didn't say it all year on this show until they made the playoffs, and now that they've made the playoffs, I can officially say it.
Because you don't have like a future championship bet on them or anything, right? Just
no. They've accomplished everything I needed them to accomplish. They can lose right now, and to be honest, I kind of hope they lose.
Yeah, that's something. All my horses are out of the race, but I hate Florida State. I feel so bad for them.
Yeah, I got a rant say for that coming up, but yeah, go ahead, Corey.
Oh, I'll just, you know, we can go ahead and get into it later, but because I'm sure that's something that we're going to talk about. But I just need it to be known that I absolutely cannot stand Florida State. So anything I say after this, it is with it being understood that I do not like Florida State in any bit.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's get started. We got a lot to talk about, and we got a good chunk of bowl games we're going to talk about here. Let's get started with the trivia question for this week. I think might be, if you know just the littlest about college football, it might be one of our easier trivia questions this year. So we'll see what you guys do. But the trivia question is this: let's see how well you know sponsors the bowl games. What is the only restaurant chain that sponsors a New Year's Six bowl game? There's only one restaurant chain that sponsors a New Year's Six bowl game. I'll give you time to think about it really, really quick while I do our ad read. The Kota Capper College World Central Show is sponsored by Better Edge. Better Edge is a social betting marketplace that is legal in 45 different states and operates like a marketplace. If you're curious how that works, let's use the Cricket Celebration Bowl, for example. Let's say one person on the platform likes Howard Moneyline, places $10 on that line, and another person on the platform likes Florida A&M Moneyline, and they place $10 on that line. You now got an exchange because you're playing person to person, not person to sports book. That's what makes it legal in 45 different states, is that peer-to-peer interaction. A lot of lines you're going to get pretty juiced on spreads and over-unders. On Better Edge, it's always minus 100, plus 100. You get a much higher payback for the users. And Action said it numerous times in the show, if you don't like a line, you can choose a line, and if somebody else is on the opposite side of that line with you, you get that line. I don't know of any other sports book that does that. And, you know, they have competitions that, like any DraftKings or FanDuel have. They have like Battle Royale, Survivor, Chaser, with a bunch of different leagues. Keeps things competitive, and it also incorporates social media. People can go post their picks, and people on the opposite end can fade their picks or ride with their picks as well. So it incorporates everything, which is why we love Better Edge so much. Go to their website, www.betteredge.com. Use promo code Kyle, promo code Corey, promo code PlayMe. Any of those promo codes, you get $20 added to your account. And they have a promo right now where if you go on the app and just win one bet, and you will receive a free Better Edge hat. I know Action rocks that hat every now and then in the show. We love their swag. So go to their website, www.betteredge.com. Again, simple, basic question. I'm going to be honest with you, fellas. Work's been hectic this week, so I just had to choose a quick one like that, which is why I came up with this one. Who's the only restaurant chain that sponsors a New Year's Six bowl? I know Corey thinks I think Corey knows it, so I'm going to go to Action first. Action,
I definitely know it.
Action, who do you think it is?
I do know it. I think I know it. It's got to be Chick-fil-A. My daughter loves Chick-fil-A, so I got to believe they sponsor the Peach Bowl.
Okay, Corey?
Well, I mean, doesn't Outback sponsor the Outback Bowl?
It's a New Year's Six.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, it'd be the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Yeah,
I should have had you go first. Dang it!
Yeah, that's on me.
Yeah, it is the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
Yeah.
Outback still sponsor that one in Tampa?
I mean, when
I
they
thought
changed
they dropped it.
Let's do some on-air research here.
Yeah, I'm curious on that because I thought they dropped it.
I thought it was still called the Outback Bowl.
Well, then, yeah, you're probably right, and I'm probably wrong.
Let's see here.
No,
It's not.
ReliaQuest Bowl at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. It's Wisconsin LSU,
Yep.
formerly known as the Outback Bowl, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I suck.
Well, for the rest, and just for your curiosity, in case you were curious, for the rest of them, the Rose Bowl is sponsored by Prudential. The Sugar Bowl is sponsored by, do you guys know it?
Better be Allstate still.
Allstate. The Cotton Bowl is sponsored by
Is it Goodyear?
Goodyear.
It used to be good. Yeah, I was gonna say that's been Goodyear.
And then you got the Peach Bowl already. The Orange Bowl is sponsored by.
Used to be FedEx.
Nope, not anymore.
See, I forgot what it changed from FedEx.
Yep, it's Capital One.
Okay.
And
What's
then
in your wallet?
Yep. And then the Fiesta Bowl is sponsored by.
Still Tostitos, or did that change
No.
too?
That
Yep,
changed a while ago.
too. VRBO.
I was gonna say it's changed a couple times because wasn't
Yeah.
PlayStation there for a little bit too, or it was something before Verbo.
Yeah, it used to be I think Airbnb sponsored it at one point, and then it was another travel company. I can't think of what it was.
Yeah,
But that's just not good because when the play was for all the Tostitos, that was one of the great announcing calls. It's just not the same.
Absolutely. So, yeah, good work, gentlemen. Like I said, I thought it was a pretty easy question, but I've been giving you guys some hard ones this year, so I thought maybe a little easy one would be nice. But
You get into that food wheelhouse. Now you're starting to talk my language for trivia questions.
there we go. All right. Sounds good. Well, gentlemen, so we've been off 2 weeks. Last week, obviously, it was just Army Navy, which by the way, one of the best pushes I've had ever, I think. So if you were on the under, I'm sorry, but if you're on the over like me, that was a fantastic push. Whenever the QB goes out of the back of the end zone, and obviously we had conference championship games a couple weeks ago. The playoff and the bowl games were officially announced. Jaden Daniels held the Heisman, which none of us predicted. I think Thomas was the closest. He had Michael Penix, who finished runner-up. So let's just talk about some stuff. I know we got a lot to talk about, and Corey, I know you're ready to roll here, so we'll get started with you.
There's just one thing I want to throw out there. I don't want this to dominate the conversation. It's just something that I find really, really funny. And then, obviously Florida State, we need to talk about bowl games that we are looking forward to, bowl games that we wish we'd seen. There's plenty to talk about. But now Brian Kelly officially has a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, and he still has not won a big game.
True.
I don't know what else. This man is just going to perennially be the loser of the big game. There's nothing that's ever going to change it. I am convinced of that. I just find it really funny. Leaves Notre Dame, goes to LSU, gets a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, still can't win his games.
And even at Notre Dame, when you have a Heisman lineman in Manti Te'o and you have that great defense, and you still get stomped by Alabama in the championship game, he just can't win the big game. You're right. People talk about James Franklin all the time. Why Brian Kelly should be in that same conversation, if not further.
I think the biggest big game loser in college football is Brian Kelly. I think this year solidified it.
He's also a scumbag too, so it's easy to dislike him.
Also,
How do you think Ed Orgeron feels when he sees this stuff? Because I mean, Ed won a national championship and lasted got fired like 18 games later.
Yeah.
God bless Edo. Oh.
Yeah, he got a nice payday, but still,
He did. Okay, so I got to throw my thoughts out here, and I think I know Corey's take on it from what he said in the group chat, and actually I haven't heard your thoughts on it, so I'm curious to hear what you have to say about it. But Florida State not making the playoff is an absolute travesty. It is it's absolutely disgusting that we reward teams on how we do in the regular season any other time, but this time let's look in the future and let's have that determine how the playoffs going to be. Let's just think about how good this team is going to be without Jordan Travis. Let's just forget about the fact that they're an undefeated college football FBS team that scheduled LSU and Florida out of conference. LSU at a neutral site, Florida at their place, and won both of them handily. Let's ignore the fact that without Jordan Travis, they still have a top 5 wide receiver combo in Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson. Let's ignore that. Let's ignore the fact that they have a top 10 defense in college football that allows only 16.5 points per game, 312 yards per game. Let's just ignore all that. Let's ignore all that and just focus on the fact that one person got injured and we're just going to leave them out of the playoff because they're just not good enough to be in the playoff because one person got injured. I think what they did is absolutely wrong. I think it's an absolute travesty. And I think the committee's been off a couple of times. This is the worst the committee has ever gotten something wrong ever.
You know, I'm not one to do this very often, but I told you so. Like, I mean, how many fucking times do I got to bitch about this committee? How many times have I complained about them on this show over a 4-year stretch? They will literally throw shit at a wall and hope it sticks. And this time, none of it stuck for the people. Like, this is absolute bullshit. And then you're going to sit there and tell me that Vegas had Jordan Travis as their, 7th leading favorite for the Heisman Trophy going into the Heisman Trophy ceremony. But then to justify that they're going to leave Florida State out, all of a sudden he jumps to 5th, having not played a game in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, we can't see through this. Like, we don't know it's about money. We don't know it's about ESPN having ties to the SEC. Yeah, I'm just at a loss. We complain about ACC teams not playing defense. That's a good defense. That is a very good defense. They beat Louisville, held them to 6 points without Jordan Travis. And did Louisville beat Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Killed them.
Yeah. So Louisville's a good team? A quality team?
I would say. Yeah.
Is Auburn a quality team?
New Mexico State didn't think so.
Yeah.
Mexico State had no issue with Auburn.
And didn't Bama need a 4th and 31 Hail Mary to fucking beat them?
Yeah.
It's just fucking ridiculous. It's the SEC Invitational. And this is why they expanded it to 12 teams, because they knew damn well that there was going to be a year where enough teams went undefeated and it was going to leave the SEC out. This is why it has to be 12 teams. Because in all reality, very rarely is there a year where more than 3 to 4 teams deserve a chance. This is one of those years. But there's still really only 3. There are 3, and that 4th team is easy to pick because there's a head-to-head matchup. This was the easiest year, in my opinion. The easiest year to pick 4 teams. And they still
got it wrong.
And they still fucked it up.
Yep. Action, what are your thoughts? I know me and Corey have kind of dominated so far, but what are your thoughts about Florida State getting left out?
Well, based on history, you reward performance, right? So Florida State, based on history, should have been in. Now, we can always make the case. I mean, I could have made the case TCU didn't belong last year, but they still made it to the championship game. Yes, they got blown out in the championship game, but they won their semifinal, and I would have left them out last year if I was just picking the 4 best teams. So to me, I agree with Corey's viewpoint there that, hey, we had to get it to 12, not only for a money play, not only for the SEC, but to avoid this. We needed this thing at 12, because if you want to talk about 4 best, I look at my computer numbers. Ohio State's the second best team in the country, according to my computer numbers.
Yep.
And they lost on the road to the number 1 overall seed. So if you want 4 best, I got to make a strong argument for them. And then Georgia, what the heck? They've lost 1 football game in 3 years? It's like, I would love to see Georgia in this tournament. I'd love to see Ohio State in this tournament. So I can't wait for next year. For those that were going to argue going from 4 to 12, and it was going to diminish the value of the regular season, I think this puts that argument to bed, because we don't want a repeat of this again. The Florida State team deserved a better fate. They deserve at least the opportunity, because, like you said, they didn't schedule cupcakes. They scheduled 2 SEC teams in the non-conference. You're supposed to reward teams doing that. That's what I've been told my entire life, is you reward teams who do that. And, Texas, the one thing I'll say about Texas is, thank goodness they're going to the SEC, because if not, I think they would have been left out of this party. But they're viewed as an SEC school now because they're headed there.
Yeah, and I think that's well said too. And I think a lot of people will argue too that, if Florida State gets in, they would have got killed by Michigan. Michigan did not look that good in that conference championship game. Iowa actually held them in check. I know they scored 26 points, but both of their touchdowns were on an Iowa fumble and on like a bad muff punt or something like that. Like, Michigan didn't look great. Again, now granted, Iowa's a very good defense. I understand that, but McCarthy did not look that good. Corum did not look that good. I don't think that shut up. I don't think that Michigan would trounce Florida State by any stretch of the imagination. So I think that argument is BS. But Action, you made a very good point. If we want to put the best 4 teams in the playoff, I'd argue maybe Michigan shouldn't be there for how bad they looked. I think Ohio State might be. I don't even know if Washington should be there, if we're being truthful with you. I think Ohio State, Georgia, Bama, and Texas are probably the 4 best teams. So we put their argument also, like you said, Action, we put the 4 best teams in there. I don't think it's true at all, because I think they put 2 teams in there that I would argue isn't good as the other teams that got left out. So I think that argument is BS too.
Yeah, I think that 12 teams is going to be a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. I think 12 teams is going to be fun, and I do think expanding it to 12 teams, you're going to see some upsets and make it worthwhile. I think it will add to some parity, and from what we've seen with a 4-team playoff. But I think that this year is the best argument that I can make for why a 16 playoff is perfect. And it's because you never have more than 3 or 4 teams that deserve. And I think this is the first year that I can look at and say there's 6 teams. There are 6 teams that are clearly, head and shoulders above everybody else. And if it was a 16 playoff, all of those teams make it. Georgia and Ohio State, or who would it be? Florida State, and either Georgia or Ohio State makes it at that point.
Yeah, Corey, you just made my argument. I don't think you can stop at 6, because I would be complaining all day long if Ohio State, because Ohio State ended up at 7, right?
Yeah, and they beat Notre Dame, so that's instantly
Ohio State, they won at Notre Dame. Their only losses to number 1 Michigan, their arch rival, and they were right there at the end.
Yeah.
There's no way Ohio State should be left out of this. Plus, on my computer number, once again, all the ratings say they're number 2 in the country.
And I would say too that expanding to 12 is going to be nice, because if you're that 13th team that gets left out,
which was LSU this year,
I'm sorry,
right?
but it'd be LSU, I believe. I'm sorry, you just sucked.
Well, they have 3 losses, right?
Yeah.
So perfect.
Yeah. Yes. So
this is good for Brian Kelly. He's got a shot now. He can get back there.
He has a shot to win the big game with a 12 team. But and also note too that with the 12 team, that 12 seed is going to be the best group of 5 school, which this year would be Liberty. Now, how Liberty would have done against Florida State, but I digress.
Yeah, I do. Speaking of LSU, I do have something I want to say. So this is just a side note. I really wish I could be a fly on the wall when it comes to these bowl committees and when they decide to pick teams, because for whatever reason, for us to not get Iowa and LSU this year is an absolute travesty. That should have been a bowl game, and that should have been the easiest bowl game ever to pick. A team that can't be stopped and can't stop anybody versus a team who can't move it and nobody can move it against. How do you not see this? How is this not just like right in front of your face? It should have been LSU Iowa. I'm sorry, I had to throw that out there. I've been thinking about it.
As an Iowa fan, I'm very glad we're not playing LSU because I think Jaden Daniels would have absolutely tore up that defense. I really do. But because Iowa, Drew Aller was probably the best QB they played all year. McCarthy didn't play very good against them. So regardless, I'm way more content with Iowa playing Tennessee than I would be if we would have played LSU. Way more content.
I think they would have done better against LSU than you think they would have.
Okay.
That defense is good against teams like that. You get him into the red zone, he's going to make mistakes.
All right.
I just if I'm a member of a bowl committee, I'm looking at that. I'm looking at contrast and styles and matchups and all of that. And that one just, I don't know, it just screamed to me. I was like, how did we not get this? And plus Wisconsin, flipping Wisconsin and Iowa in those two matchups, I don't know. It just made sense to me. But that was a random thought.
Yep, for sure. Really quick before we move on, obviously, we got a lot of bowl games to talk about. We're going to talk about just the first week of bowl games, but just really quick, I'll just name off the New Year's 6 games. We got Alabama taking on Michigan in the Rose Bowl, Texas taking on Washington in the Sugar Bowl, and then the rest of the New Year's 6 games, Missouri taking on Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, Ole Miss taking on Penn State in the Peach Bowl, Georgia taking on Florida State in the Orange Bowl, and then Liberty taking on Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl. Any of those games really stand out to you guys? Any games you're looking forward to? Me personally, I think Penn State Ole Miss is going to be a great game. I know a lot of people were thinking that Ole Miss or LSU was going to play Iowa in the Citrus Bowl. I'm glad that they got the nod for the New Year's 6 bowl game because I think them playing Penn State is going to be really, really good. So I personally am excited to see that matchup between Penn State and Ole Miss as far as New Year's 6 game goes. Corey, anything for you really New Year's 6 wise, or even I'll throw it out to any bowl game you're looking forward to?
Go to action.
Okay, action.
There's only 2 games that matter. Other than that, until I hear all the opt-outs, I don't know who's going to care. That's the problem. I mean, you're right. The Ole Miss matchup might be intriguing against Penn State, but I don't know how many players have entered the portal. I haven't done a deep dive on that yet. I haven't researched enough on this game. Other than the 2 semifinals, those are the ones that I care about. And then I would love to see Florida State actually beat Georgia. I would love to see that just to really kind of stick it to the committee and say, what more do you want from us now? We beat 3 SEC teams. What more do you want us to do? I mean, give us the next one. Let us play one more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really do think that it's hard. It'll be hard for either the coaches or the AP to not give Florida State some type of share of a title. Honestly, if they go out and they beat Georgia, I mean, at what point they at that point, you know, everybody makes the joke, but they would be 100% allowed to say, we want Bama.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they'd be able to chant it. I don't see how, if I'm a pollster, I'm voting Florida State number 1, just out of principle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's very possible that they could be the final undefeated team in college football, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if obviously Michigan loses, Washington loses, you have Texas and Bama. I mean, Florida State would be the only one undefeated out of the Power 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Very true.
Crown them.
Yeah. I mean, people joke about the Central Florida one, the UCF one, but this one I'm not joking about. If one of those one-loss teams wins the playoff, I split title. It should be a split title.
For sure. Agreed.
One bowl that I think is going to be interesting to see would be Ohio State, Missouri, just because there's no McCord. And this is the best Missouri's done in a long time. And they've got some quality talent. And I think they do care about that bowl game. So I think that's going to be an interesting matchup. That's one.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But all right, gentlemen, sounds good. Well, let's dive into our week 1 bowl game snake draft. So as always, if you're just tuning in for the first time, We're going to do a 5-round snake draft with 3 of us. We're going to give you 15 picks. Everyone on the panel must have a full game spread, a full game over under, and a money line, all via better edge, and then a team total and a first half total. Every single round is worth a greater number of units. So round 1 is worth 5 units, round 2 is worth 4, round 3 is worth 3, round 4 is worth 2, and round 1 is worth 1 unit. Really quick, we'll go through the standings for the conference championship snake draft, and our man Beast picks. What a week. 5-0 plus 15.02 units. Congratulations to Beast. PG finished with a 4-1 plus 5.83 unit day. VFC 3-2 plus 5.18 unit day. DJ with a 2-3 minus 1.65 unit day. And hear this, boys, for the second week in a row, your man Kyle 0-5 minus 15 units. For the second week in a row, I was leading action by a pretty hefty margin. I am now in the negative. I'm about as worse as anybody can be. So if you want to fade these plays that I give, by all means, I don't blame you. But then everyone on the panel also has a challenge flag. If they want to debate somebody on a play, they can. The games that we are going to be covering today is the Myrtle Beach Bowl, the Cricket Celebration Bowl, the RNL New Orleans Bowl, Avocados from Mexico Cure Bowl, the New Mexico Bowl, the LA Bowl, the Independence Bowl, the famous Toastery Bowl, and the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. So those are the games we're going to be doing today. We did the order before the snake draft started. It'll be Action at 1, myself at 2, and Corey at 3. So without further ado, Action, you have the number 1 overall pick. Let's get bowl week started. Where are you going? 1-1.
Yeah, so my handicap of bowl games is very simple. Who's the motivated team? I really don't care about spreads. I just want to pick the winning team, because if you normally have the winning team, you normally win the bowl game. I don't get excited about grabbing points. So it's the biggest spread on the board, but I'm going to Frisco, Texas, to the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. Frank Harris is 24. I had to look that up because I thought he was already drawing Social Security, but he's only 24. Apparently, he's going to play for the Roadrunners. So beep, beep, give me UTSA minus the 12.5 against Marshall. They're going to score all day long. And Marshall has a terrible offense. I bet on him way too many times. I don't even know if they're going to score. So, yeah, give me UTSA minus the 12.5.
I had that as well because, yeah, this is going to be he's only 24. That's crazy. I thought he was at least
I thought he was 26
age.
at least.
Yeah.
I thought he already was an AARP member.
Yep. I thought he was a silver sneaker, baby.
I thought his freshman year, he played with those like leather helmets. No, that's a good play. I think that's going to be, it's the biggest line for a reason because I think that's going to be a pretty big blowout. So I like the play.
And I think it started at like 8.5 and has jumped up to that.
Yep. Because I looked it up, 95% of the public is betting UTSA, but I don't blame the public this time. But nope, good pick, Action. All right, so I'm going to go to an over-under play that I really like, and I'm going to take Texas Tech, over 57.5. These are 2 solid offenses and 2 bad defenses. You got Cal scoring 31.6 points per game, which is 31st in college football, and they allow 34 points per game, which is one of the worst in college football. I believe it's 115th. Texas Tech is scoring 25.5 points per game, which is 70th in college football, but they're allowing 29.2 points per game. And to me, when polar opposites meet, that screams over to me. And the public is fairly split. I like that because that makes me think that this is a pretty even playing field. And I just think there's going to be a lot of points scored. So I'm going to take Texas Tech over 57.5.
I had that on my board too.
All right, very good.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think they can both score points and neither of them can stop anybody. So
sounds good. All right, Corey, you do have back-to-back here. We'll start with your first round play worth 5 units.
So playing into the first 2 lines that I picked actually kind of play into what the 2 picks that you guys just made. With the UTSA Marshall, that's going to be with the game I go to. I'm going to take under 52.5.
Okay.
I just don't think Marshall is going to score enough points for that over to hit, and I do think UTSA is going to dominate that game. But I mean, they can easily win that 30-0, and everything else hits except for the over. So I'm going to take under 52.5 in that game. And then I'm going to, you took over 58 from me. So I'll take the first half over 28.5 in that Cal Texas Tech game. This game just screams like fast start, fun game to watch.
You said 28.5?
Yeah. I'd rather have it 27.5, but I'm just going to take it.
Okay. What'd you get for a line on that?
I believe it was -110. Let me look real quick.
I'll take your word for it.
First half is -105.
Oh, even better for you. Okay. Sounds good. Well, yeah, that's a kind of a play on both me and actions, so I like that. And I agree with both of them. So with that, we will continue on. And I'm going to go to a team total here. And I've been riding with MAC teams for a while this year, and I'm going to do it once again here. I'm going to take Ohio team total under 21.5. I can get that a -115. I was contemplating taking the over, but then I look at it's hard to handicap bowl games first and foremost because you just don't know who's in and who's out. I do recommend the Action Network. If you go to their website, they have an article that lists out every single bowl game person not playing, whether they hit the transfer portal, injury, so on, what have you. So I definitely recommend checking that out. That's what I did for my handicapping. I was going to bet the team total over for Ohio, but then I found out their starting quarterback, Curtis Rourke, their top two running backs, C. Bengera and O'Shawn Allison, and their second leading overall receiver, Miles Cross, are all gone for this game. When you lose that kind of production for a bowl game, that's just a lot to make up. They're playing a really solid Sun Belt team in Georgia Southern, and I think it's going to be a major struggle for Ohio, especially losing all that production, and I don't think they score more than 21 points. So I'm going to take Ohio team total under 21.5. I can get that at -115.
That's a whole lot of talent out for Ohio. I know that much.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so
I'm jealous of you guys. You guys are going to have so much fun with that Cal Texas Tech game. I got to get some action here. So give me the double T Texas Tech team total over 30.5 at a -110.
Okay.
I like that. Texas Tech is like just they want to. I think that they're going to kind of run it down Cal's throat. To be perfectly honest, they've got a pretty good running back. They've got a big old offensive line. I think they're going to run it all day, and I don't think Cal's going to be able to do anything about it.
That's what I'm hoping for.
All right.
Third round pick. They're like one of the hottest teams in college football right now. Boise State. I'll take them on the money line plus the 150. Let's get a money line out of the way. You guys made fun of Brian Kelly, but Chip Kelly, he's walking around saying, "You guys didn't fire me yet? I'm still here." I don't know. Boise State, definitely the hotter football team. I think they'll be motivated for this one, so I'll go the plus 150. Now I'll read later that they have 28 opt-outs and 32 kids in the portal. But the way the Broncos looked at the end of the year, I really like the way Boise State was playing after the coaching change.
I'd find it hard to believe that they'd have that many kids in the transfer portal. They're like they're kind of a culture program.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Just their starting quarterback is what I know is going to be in the portal. That's all.
Who got benched 3 times, right?
Yeah, he was pretty trash.
True.
Yeah, so I don't worry about that.
Yeah, and it's the little guy versus the big guy type thing, and UCLA's kind of reeling after losing to Cal to end the year.
Okay. Sounds good, gentlemen. All right, so I am up now, and I am going to go to a first half play, and I'm going to take New Mexico State, Fresno State, first half under 24.5. I can get that at a -115. These are two really solid defenses, but as far as the conferences they play in, they are polar opposite conferences, whereas Fresno plays in the Mountain West, and you have to have a solid defense to have success, which they did. Like, look at like Air Force, Boise State, UNLV. You got to have a solid defense to win, and they did. Where New Mexico State, they play in a Conference USA, where Conference USA offenses are really solid. Look at Liberty, Western Kentucky, teams like that. And New Mexico State had one of the better defenses in the conference there, too. So I think with both these defenses going against each other here, I think the first half is going to be a lot slower paced. You're going to need to establish scoring in their offense a lot more here. So 24.5 is a lot for a first half, especially with these two really solid defenses. So I'm going to take the New Mexico State, Fresno State first half under 24.5 at a -115. And that is where I'm going to go. And yeah, not a whole lot of analysis for these games, but these games are kind of tough to handicap, for being honest with you. Come back in a couple weeks and the analysis is going to be a lot more lively, but we digress because these are still good. These are bowl games nonetheless. I don't care what you say. These are bowl games nonetheless. Corey, you do have back-to-back picks here. We'll start with your third round play. We're 3 units.
All right, so you sold me on one of them that I have written down. I'm going to take App State -6.5.
Okay.
Miami's going to be out all that talent. I'll go ahead and take App State to cover. And then I have 2 team totals here written down. I really like both of them. Oh, go ahead and give me App State team total over 27.5. That's +124.
Ooh. 24.5, you said?
27.5.
27.5 +124. Okay. Why you like an App State in this game?
Well, I didn't know that Miami was going to be out all that talent. The other team would make sense too, but your little analysis sold me on that one. I have 2 team totals written down. If nobody picks the other one, it'll be one of my freebies.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, so it's back to me now. And I am going to go with a spread here. And I'm going to take the Monday game, and I'm going to go Western Kentucky +1.5. Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers, they are leaps and bounds below expectations this year. I drafted them early in the college football team draft because I thought they were going to win Conference USA. I really did. They had Austin Reed returning, who led college football in passing, and he still had a solid year, 3,100 yards and 31 TDs. But I mean, they have struggled this year to even make the bowl game. However, they're playing an Old Dominion team that I think is they're getting praised because they're in the Sun Belt rather than Conference USA. They've only won their last 2 games by a combined 3 points, and their other previous 3 games they lost. And I think that these teams are on totally different levels. I think Austin Reed is going to go all over this team, and I think he's going to score a lot of points here, and I think the wrong team is favored. So I'm going to take Western Kentucky +1.5. And that is where I'm going to go. Okay. Action. It looks like you need a first half total and a full game over under to round out your card.
Well, you just highlighted this game. Western Kentucky underachieved all year, but they can score some points. They do give up points. Leads me to the over. I'll play the over 55.5 between Western Kentucky and Old Dominion in the famous Toastery Bowl. Yeah, that's so exciting in that one. And then my next one, I am actually going to go against everything I said earlier. I will play the first half under between Boise State and UCLA. And that first half under will be 23.5 at a -102.
You said 23.5?
23.5, yeah.
23.5 at a -102. That was the other first half play I had if I didn't get New Mexico State, Fresno State. I think it's going to be very, very slow, especially for the fact, like I said, that not only is Boise State's starting QB out, like you said, they got benched a bunch of times, but Dante Moore also transferred. So he's not going to be starting for UCLA either. They have that Garbers, but Garbers has been hurt for a little bit. So I think they're going to be on a 3rd string QB, which makes me think that the first half is just going to be very low scoring. It's going to take them a while to establish themselves. So I like that play a lot.
Yeah, why don't I just bump that up to like a 5-star play? But no, we'll keep it right there.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. I am up now. Looks like I need a money line. And fellows, I am going to go to the Cricket Celebration Bowl, and I am taking Howard money line at a plus 180 to round out my card. I'm not going to discount the season Florida A&M is having right now. You know, they have a hell of a season, 11-1 on the year. Very, very talented group. But this is the Cricket Celebration Bowl. The last 2 seasons in the Cricket Celebration Bowl, the favorite has lost. So this game, anything can happen. Howard has a really solid defense that's allowed less than 27 points in 8 of their 11 games played. 5 of those games, they've allowed less than 20 points per game. They have a solid QB in Quentin Williams, who's passed for 18 TDs to 4 INTs, and he likes to spread the wealth. There's not one wide receiver that has better stats than the rest of them. He likes to spread it out a little bit. So I think that you have to defend every receiver like it's their best, which makes it difficult to defend against. And I think that a big upset could happen here. I think this is the second or third biggest underdog on the board for this week, and I'm going to go with it because I need to catch action here. So I'm going to take Howard money line at a plus 180. And that is going to be where I'm going to go. And Corey, to round out the group, it looks like you need a money line. Where are you going? You're muted.
Whoops.
All good.
I'm gonna roll with another Sunbelt team. I'm gonna take Louisiana money line against Jacksonville State, and that is plus 140. Not much analysis other than I really like Louisiana. I think they're a good program, and it's a Sunbelt team, and Sunbelt seems to do well in bowl games.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, gentlemen. Well, I'll read off the card really quick. We'll do honorable mentions, and then we'll get to our pick'em segment. Action, UTSA minus 12.5. Texas Tech team total over 30.5 at a minus 110. Boise State money line at a plus 150. Western Kentucky Old Dominion over 55.5. Boise State UCLA first half under 23.5 at a minus 102. Cal Texas Tech over 57.5. Ohio team total under 21.5 at a minus 115. New Mexico State Fresno State first half under 24.5 at a minus 115. Western Kentucky plus 1.5 and Howard money line at a plus 180. Corey, UTSA, Marshall under 52.5. Cal, Texas Tech first half over 28.5 at a minus 105. App State minus 6.5. Excuse me. App State team total over 27.5 at a plus 124. And Louisiana money line at a plus 140. So actually, I know we gave it a lot of plays here. Any honorable mentions you have at all?
I have nothing else left for this set of games. No.
Okay. Sounds good. Corey, any honorable mentions? Your team total that didn't get taken, maybe?
Yeah, I didn't get taken. I just because of the number that I got it at with the value I got it at. Boise State team total over 23.5 at plus 105.
Okay.
I like that.
I had a couple other honorable mentions that didn't get taken. I know I said the New Mexico State, Fresno State first half the first half under. I also like the full game under at 51.5. 80% of the public is betting on the over, but the lines moved down, which makes me think that smart money's betting on the under. So I like that a lot. And action, you talked about UTSA. I like their team total over 33.5 at a minus 115. I think that Frank Harris, they've scored points his entire career. Why not score points one last time here? And I think they're playing Marshall. They give about 30 points per game. I think they could easily go over this. So I like their team total as well. All right, gentlemen, let's go to our pick'em contest. So Action said it best that sometimes with bowl games, it's fun to handicap, but it's also fun to just pick the winner. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through every single bowl game for this week, and we're going to give just the winner. And we'll do a rapid fire style. What I mean by that is just give your answer. Don't give an explanation. Just give the winner. And if someone wants to challenge it, then you can explain it. But just give who you think's going to win. And for simplicity purposes, let's just do the same order every time. So we'll have Action. We'll do the order of the snake draft. So we'll have Action start, then me, then Corey. And we'll just do that for every single bowl game. Sound good?
Yep.
All right, let's get to it. Let's start with the very first bowl game of the bowl game season, the Myrtle Beach Bowls, Georgia Southern and Ohio.
Georgia Southern.
Georgia Southern.
Ohio.
Okay, sounds good. The Cricket Celebration Bowl, Howard and Florida A&M.
Florida A&M.
Howard.
A&M.
All right. Split panel so far. Let's see if that continues. The R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. Jacksonville State, Louisiana.
Raging Cajuns.
I'm going Jacksonville State.
La, Louisiana.
All right. Sounds good. Let's go to the Avocados from Mexico Cure Bowl. Miami, Ohio, Appalachian State.
App State.
I'm going App State.
App State.
All right, there's our first clean sweep. Let's see. The Isleta, I think it is. Isleta, New Mexico Bowl. New Mexico State, Fresno State.
Jerry Kill.
I'm going New Mexico State.
Bulldogs.
All right. Sounds good. The LA Bowl, UCLA, Boise State.
Boise State.
UCLA.
Boise.
Okay. The Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl, Cal, Texas Tech.
Double T.
Double T.
Red Raiders.
All right. Sounds good. The famous Toastery Bowl, Western Kentucky, Old Dominion.
Hilltoppers.
Hilltoppers.
Yeah, Western Kentucky.
All right. Sounds good. And the final game that I got a feeling is going to be a clean sweep, the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl, UTSA Marshall.
Beep, beep. Roadrunners.
Going UTSA. Beep, beep. All right. Sounds good. I'm glad Scooters Coffee is getting a bowl game. I love their coffee and their smoothies and all the good stuff they have. So congratulations to them.
The real winners.
Exactly. Who won the week? Scooters Coffee won the week.
Oh.
All right, sounds good, gentlemen. Well, hey, let's move on to upset and locks of the weeks to round out the show. So upset of the week. Normally you need to have a 7-point underdog at least, and they have to win outright to get you the point. However, with bowl game season, any upset goes because we're going to be limited on spreads. I don't think we're going to have many spreads of 7 or greater. So you can have a +1.5 underdog, and you can have that as your upset of the week. So it's totally up to you. Really quick, let's go through our standings for upset of the week. Action is in the lead with 5 upset of the week's pick. He correctly picked Washington over Oregon last week. I'm in second with 4. Beast and Thomas are tied for third with 2. And then everybody else, Corey, DJ, VFC, PG, and Pace all have 1. VFC did correctly pick Miami, Ohio over Toledo last week. And PG correctly picked SMU over Tulane last week. So, gentlemen, let's go through our upsets of the week. And Corey, we will start with you.
It's on my board, so I'll take the Raging Cajuns against Jacksonville State.
Okay. Sounds good. Write this down quick, and then I'll do mine. Yeah, I talked about mine too. I think anything can happen in the Cricket Celebration Bowl. This is not me discounting Florida A&M by any stretch of the imagination because they've had a hell of a season, but anything happens in that bowl game. So I think the MEAC just wants to win 1 for 1. So I'm taking Howard over Florida A&M as my upset of the week. And Action, we'll wrap it up with you. What do you got for your upset of the week?
I'll stick to my card. I want Boise State for 3 units, so I'll back them here as well.
All right. Over UCLA. Sounds good. All right, gentlemen, let's round up the show with Lock of the Week. Lock of the Week, very, very simple. The lock gets the lock hits, you get a point. If it misses, you don't. Current standings right now, and again, standings go off of win percentage, and then you got to have at least 3 games under your belt to be considered for the standings. Action is in first place, dominating so far. I think actually he can probably lose out and still probably win the contest. So just an absolutely dominating fashion. He's not going to, though, because I know him. 11-3 record in Lock of the Week. DJ is in second with a 2-1. Beast is in third with a 5-3. Corey is in fourth with an 8-6. PG's in fifth with a 2-2. I'm in sixth with a 6-8. Thomas is in seventh with a 5-9. And VFC is in eighth with a 1-2. Pace not eligible, but he is 1-1 in Locks of the Week. So let's go through our Locks of the Week. I'll start this one. Corey, I know you talked a little bit about Louisiana over Jacksonville State. I'm taking Jacksonville State -2.5 as my lock of the week. I've been kind of biting my tongue a little bit. The NCAA did get something right, though. They let James Madison and they let Jacksonville State be in the bowl game. That is something that they got right. Jacksonville State, this is their first year in FBS ranks, and what better way to finish it off than getting a win in a bowl game they were told they weren't even going to play in. Their defense is very, very solid. They're only allowing 21.5 points per game. They have a really solid running back in Malik Jackson, who's rushed for 860 yards and 7 TDs. They have a really solid dual threat QB in Zion Webb. Logan Smothers comes in every now and then too, but Zion Webb is their main. And I think that Louisiana Lafayette is solid, but this is a perfect opportunity for Jacksonville State to capitalize here. So I'm going to take Jacksonville State -2.5 as my lock of the week. Corey, we'll go to you. What is your lock of the week?
I'll take my 5-unit play. I'll take UTSA Marshall under 52.5.
Okay.
I'll take my 5-unit play as well. I'll go UTSA -12.5.
There you go. Sounds good. So we got both these gentlemen are going to have to wait to see if their lock of the week hits until we record that next Tuesday. But
okay.
All right, gentlemen, sounds good. Well, we had a lot of good conversation today and a lot of good stuff to be had. And I'm just looking forward to bowl week. I don't know about you guys. I know we complained about the quality of the bowl games and stuff like that, but I tell you what, I take these bowl games over no football at all, any stretch of the imagination. So I'm excited that it's bowl week, but I'm also sad because that means college football season is starting to end.
Agreed. I do have a question for Corey before we wrap up here, though. Did Nebraska get some NIL money or something? Because how is Nebraska in the mix for some marquee transfers in the portal?
True.
Did you guys have somebody donate corn to Nebraska or something, or what the heck's going on down there?
That's our. We had money the entire time.
Then why didn't you spend it?
I don't know, but we're spending it now.
Holy cow! Okay.
I mean, you forget the Oracle of Omaha. He's from Nebraska. Who knows? Maybe he gave the school a bunch of money.
Okay, hey, Nebraska could be back. I mean, the way you guys are recruiting right now, you're scaring me.
People forget Warren Buffett's from Omaha.
People shouldn't forget
donate
that.
to Creighton basketball first.
Hey, they just beat Michigan State.
Well, I have the utmost faith in McDermott at Creighton in basketball,
but no, I don't know. I don't know where the money came from. I think it has a lot to do with Matt Rule. Because he made a lot of comments after the Iowa game where they asked him about getting a quarterback in the transfer portal. He's like, let's just be honest about this. You're talking $1.5, $2 million to go get us a good quarterback. So if we're not going to pay the money, then there's no point in having this conversation. Then fast forward 2 weeks, and all of a sudden McCord and Raiola are both being linked to Nebraska. So
and Fleming too. Fleming from Ohio State.
Yeah, I think he's just going to go wherever McCord goes. Like, I think that's just kind of it's a package deal with them too. But I really do think Rule's words at the podium in the postseason press conference rung true. I think Trev Alberts heard that, listened to that, and they did what they had to do because this is absolutely wild.
And I know you and I have talked about it too, Corey. I'm not big on McCord, but McCord is better than any QB that's been back there for a while for Nebraska.
Well, yeah, and it's a 1-year lease. You get McCord for a year, and then you get the number 1 overall prospect in high school to sit behind him for a year. I mean, it's a now and later situation. I'm at a loss. Like, I don't know if you guys watch the league or fans of the show The League, but if they both commit, I'm Shiva blasting. It doesn't matter where I'm at.
I'm a huge fan of the league, so I appreciated that.
I'm not even joking. I'm being dead ass serious. I will Shiva blast wherever I'm at if they both commit.
Love it. Actually, any final thoughts? I know you got a Gophers game to look forward to this year, and that's one thing you have over me and Corey is both our schools lost to Minnesota.
Yeah, that's a good feeling, but. Yeah, a bowl game. Unfortunately, we lost our defensive coordinator to Michigan State, so that was a little bit of a blow. Really excited about the new QB coming in. We'll see what the product is at the Motor City Bowl or whatever they call it these days in Detroit. But hey, at least we got one more football game to watch, the maroon and gold.
Absolutely. But the difference between me and Corey is I fulfilled with my promises. Corey didn't, and people forget that.
Yes, I did.
He did ultimately. He just didn't get it done right away.
Right.
Yeah.
I did it immediately. You did not.
Better late than never. And I was just gonna say, not only did he get the wins, but he got the Minnesota Rouser too. So
From both of us, yeah.
from both of them.
Yeah, it was a great year. Great year.
And you won all the Texas bets. So
And you won the Texas bets.
Yeah.
It wasn't a fair catch, by the way. I'm just gonna say that one final time. But all right, gentlemen. Well, hey, that'll do it for this episode of the Kota Capra College Central Show. Tune in next week. We will talk about this week's slate of games. We'll do a snake draft with the next chunk of bowl games as well. 2 more episodes left, boys. See you guys.
See you.